In the culture wars, there are no winners, just podcasters. Only a few are willing to risk their lives in the face of some of the dumbest ideas to have ever captured human civilization. Every week, we, Meghan Dom and Sarah Hayter, humbly accept this mission to bring you conversations that are equal parts stunning, brave, and bearish on women's safety. So,
good job,
Sarah. Okay, first of all, we should say we are on a live stream. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. If you're listening on audio only, this might sound a little bit different because we're reading off of the feed on the YouTube feed, among other places, and we've got a lot of people here. So we're going to talk about a number of things. We're going to talk about the obvious things like student protests. I'm going to recap a little bit of what we talked about Harvey Weinstein. I'm going to talk about my recent trip to New York. I just got back. But first, I really think this is the most pressing issue of the day, the central question of our time. Sarah, would you rather be in the woods alone with a bear or a man? If you're walking in the woods, walking in the woods alone.
Depends on the bear, walking in the woods. Yeah. I mean, so this is, I thought it died. I thought this discourse died.
We're late to everything.
Everywhere. So no. It was everywhere. And then it went away and then it's back now for some reason.
I only heard of it the other day. So
really?
I didn't get it the first time. Oh.
Yeah. It's been going on for some time, this man or bear thing. And it's triggering a lot of people. What do you have to say? I mean, we know.
Well, we should just, in case anybody missed this story, this apparently was like a TikTok video. And somebody posed the question, if you're alone in the woods, would you rather encounter a bear or a man? And they went around and asked some people on the street, some women on the street. And overwhelmingly, the women said a bear. They said that no one's gonna no one's gonna ask what kind of, if the bear attacks them, they're not going to be asked what they were wearing, for instance. Someone says, I know
that's
a bear.
The worst. I hate it when a bear is mauling me and
it's like you're asking for it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I know. Someone says, I know a bear's intentions. I don't know a man's intentions, no matter how nice they are. She knows a bear's intentions.
Yeah, I don't know.
Amazing. She should have her own show on Animal Planet. Somebody says, bear, man is scary. Let's see. When I die, leave my body in the woods. The wolves will be gentler than any man. Wow.
What?
Yeah, that's pretty nihilistic. Let's see. I'd rather let's see. Okay, so here's a little scenario. A man says, I'd rather meet a bear than a woman alone in the woods. She says, why? But okay. She says, I'd rather meet a bear than a man. And the man says, we don't believe you, bigot. You're irrational. You're going to die alone. Okay.
Bigot.
I understand that one. Yeah, we're confusing things here. Let's see. So okay. Here's the problem with this. Well, I mean, do you think there's any problems? Is there just one problem with this? Let's see.
There are many problems. It's like stupid conversation. I thought it died and then it was back. So now it feels like we have to discuss it because it's like herpes. It keeps coming back. Can't get rid of it. Yeah.
Right. So this, this idea that women are in danger everywhere. It's like, I feel like there's something like women kind of get off on this idea. It's kind of like a weird, is it sort of like a way of exoticizing your experience?
Yeah, I think it's definitely odd how much people who, the kinds of people who are talking a lot about this online are like the kinds of people who don't take walks in the woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time they took a walk? So it's definitely an argument that is not real. You know what I mean? And I didn't take it seriously. So the first time I ran up against this, it was like, the women are saying, we picked the bear. Man, you men are gonna rape us, blah, blah, blah. And like, basically the point was that men are very scary. I don't think the women were saying they would literally choose a bear. I think they were saying, we just want you to understand how scary we find men. That was it. It was like an emphasis thing. It was not, I took them seriously, but not literally when I saw that. At the same time, I can totally see the male perspective who would take it, seriously and literally. And literally, it's like an incredibly stupid thing to say for the most part, unless you're somebody who really understands unless you're in that very specific scenario where you're out in the middle of the woods, really with no humanity is close by. No one's supposed to know who you are or where you are. I'm in the witness protection program, whatever. I'm running, I'm hiding, I'm hiding in the woods alone. And there shouldn't be a human being around for miles. And then one day there's like some spooky dude that just shows up. Then it's like, okay, he's trying to find me. He wants to kill me. That's a scary situation. Yes, like an unexpected situation. But if you're taking a walk next to, in your neighborhood, like close to it, like a woodsy area, and then there's the bear man situation.
Right.
In that case, come on. Like,
also, they don't specify the type of bear. I mean, they didn't say grizzly bear. I mean, a grizzly bear is a different situation than a black bear.
Because they're rapier?
Grizzly bears are super rapey.
Or you're saying, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Black bears are friendly.
Black bears, well, they're black, so you shouldn't be afraid of it.
Never
if you are, you're racist. Okay. Even though black bears are brown. It's really confusing. There's black bear wandering around my neighborhood as it happens.
That was a brown bear.
I sent you a picture. I know it was brown, but the name of the species of bear is black bear.
Okay, I was very confused. I was like, that's like a baby, like grizzly cub or something.
That was not a baby. It was a very fat, big bear. And that picture I showed you was taken on my street.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
So you have encountered this very scenario.
I didn't take the picture. I have not seen the bear.
Oh, okay.
I wish I would see it.
Okay.
But it's been all over the place.
And then you would know whether you preferred it to a man.
Yeah, I'd be like, like would I date that bear? Like, you kind of know immediately when you meet a bear or a man if you would be like into it.
Okay.
Just like a chemistry thing.
Can you tell them about the bear date, the dating thing, or no? Or not? We can't talk about that.
Me?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Is somebody asking this?
No.
Oh, well, I did. I actually did date somebody that a guy that I met in the woods.
Yeah, that.
So okay, I did. So when I was like 29, and I really was 29. Yeah, I was. This is when I moved to Nebraska. I had moved from New York to Nebraska, which some people know that I did this, and I went jogging. I had this whole idea. I wanted to like experience life on the Great Plains, and there was a wooded area near my house, and I decided to go jogging there. And and there's guy, I literally happened upon this guy, and he was sitting by a campfire. This was during the day. He was sitting by a campfire in the woods in this little clearing, reading a book, and he was like Grizzly Adams or something. Like he looked like a woodsman.
That's so romantic.
I started talking to him, but he had this like beat up truck, and he was like very weathered looking, and yeah. And so we started talking, and then I don't know, then I like kept jogging, and then I like ran into him like another time when he was leaving the woods in his truck, and he asked for my phone number. And the weirdest part was that he lived in a cabin in another woods. He lived far. I know. And I ended up, I think we went out one time, and then the next, he really, really wanted me to come to his cabin in the woods, like really wanted me to. And the weirdest thing was that I knew intuitively that he was not dangerous. I just knew.
After going,
we went out for like, a beer or something. And I'm lowering my volume because I can tell it's getting a little hot. So, okay. Yeah, we went out like one time, and then he really wanted me to go to his cabin in the woods. And I know it was crazy.
No,
Anybody that I would have told back up, but I just knew he was safe. I knew, I could just tell. I could just tell. So yeah,
I
we
think
went.
that's what many women who are murdered probably think or thought. You know, not he
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
do it.
if I was murdered, it would be totally my own fault. I mean, there's no question.
You
Yeah.
would blame the
But
victim. You would
we
blame
ended
yourself,
up
the
going,
victim.
yeah, we ended up being like a 3-year relationship.
Wow. Did you live in his cabin?
No, but I spent a lot of time in his cabin, and then we ended up living on in a little house on the prairie. I wrote a whole, and then I wrote a novel about him, and he was such a character that I based a whole character on him, and wrote a novel, and got the
That's
novel
a great
published, and
story. That's
I
like
know it
that
was
could
great.
be
It was
like
the best thing I ever did. Yeah,
you need
talk
to
to him in the woods.
yeah, you could take this like man bear like kerfuffle and turn it into like merge it with your experience and just take off on TikTok. I think you should do it.
Yeah.
Finally, we can have something to
I mean, but like, why it reminds me, there was like a viral song going around. This was many, many years ago by, a girl had like made up a song on her ukulele, I think it was, like, about how all the things that men don't realize women have to worry about. Like, she's like, I can't rent an apartment that's on the first floor of a building because it's not safe,
Mhm.
stuff like that. Or I can't, walk to my car without my keys between my fingers and all this sort of stuff. Like, how how conscious are you of that sort of thing? I never
Not
have my
conscious
keys in
enough,
my
probably.
fingers.
I think I'm just, like, a perfect victim. Someone's gonna end me, and I'm just, like just be like, "Huh? You know, what? What just happened? Am I dying?"
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm not conscious enough. I should be, I mean, that's what they say in all the, so I've read a bunch of books on the topic, like, about just how to, like, think like a survivor and, like, think like a
Oh, like The
murderer,
Gift of
and
Fear?
like that,
Yeah.
those kinds of books, like When Violence is the Answer, that kind of thing. And you're supposed to think like you are the murderer. Like, what would you do if you were a criminal? And that's the mindset you should be in all the time. And that will help you understand what a criminal would do or how far they would go if you get attacked, and you'd be ready to do like the hard thing that you need to do. Like Christy Nome, and just like kill the guy
Mhm.
quickly instead of giving him a chance,
Mm.
which is what you were going to do. Like, you're likely to be like polite and think, no, he's
Yes.
really not going to do this incredibly horrible thing, but they're they are. They're counting on the
Mhm.
fact that you're not going to really be as violent as them. And so you're supposed to be violent. You're supposed to end it. Yeah, I don't know. So okay, I think the whole conversation was stupid because I think that the women were not taking it they were not answering the question literally, they weren't. And some of them might have been, but there are stupid people everywhere, and they're not fully modeling what's going on. They've never met a bear. They've never thought about a bear. They don't know anything about bear
Well, they're
attacks.
acting like it's Winnie the Pooh. I mean, that's the thing,
Yeah,
is
well, they have
people are
no
very
idea. People are like,
unrealistic about
yeah,
bears. I mean, the bear wandering around my neighborhood, the Facebook is, they love it. They're all over it. And they've anthropomorphized this bear, and he's our bear, and this is where he is now. And it's like really messed up. It's,
it's I saw
I
this
mean,
TikTok. I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was this black man commenting on like this like kind of ghetto dude like commenting on this other video with this like there was this cute little white girl, and she's picking up this like terrifying, ugly beyond belief like possum looking,
yeah. Hmm.
super ugly, scary, like
Yeah. Don't
she's
pick
like
those up.
picking it up, and it's like and it's like it has murder in its eyes, and it's like looking terrifying. I mean, I felt I was stressed out just watching her do it. And she's like, it's so cute. Hi, my little. And the the guy commenting was just like, white girls have no fear at all. They are afraid of nothing. Like, and he's just like commenting and talking about how this tiny little woman was just like, oh, what a little cutie. And it's like the ugliest creature you've ever seen in
Right.
your life that is
Well,
definitely going to
white
rip her
girls are
face
not
off.
afraid of animals. They're afraid of, but what's his point? They're not
Men,
afraid
maybe,
of
I don't
black
know.
men either.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what that was, but it was It was alarming, yeah.
I mean,
I think there are
when
some
you
people
would
who just don't have a realistic fear of things.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, also, when you would really want to run into a man in the woods is if a bear was attacking you or if
Right.
there was a bear there.
Yeah. I think the
So
scenario is if you're running into the man, like, just accidentally, like, you run into each other, he's doing his own thing, that's not scary. But if you're in the woods by yourself for any reason and suddenly someone creeps up on you and it's a man, then he's
Mhm.
trying to get you, and that's kind of a
Yeah.
scarier situation.
I mean, I had a funny like, a couple of years ago, I was walking Hugo. I remember it was Christmas Eve, and it was dark out. It was fully dark, but it wasn't that late. It was maybe like 6 o'clock or something, and we were walking. It wasn't even that remote. We were walking around, um just a sort of area where there was like a golf course and sort of trails, but it wasn't, anything. But it was totally deserted. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I guess because it was Christmas Eve, there was like nobody there. And I remember being super actually afraid. Like, I was afraid that somebody was going to come out of the darkness. It was so deserted. I was afraid of a person. And Hugo was acting like really edgy. I mean, Hugo's so big that I'm never afraid of anybody attacking us, but there was something creepy about it. And then at a certain point, there was a coyote, and Hugo was going crazy, and I was yelling at the coyote, and the coyote started following us. And I was like, oh shit, because there's one coyote, there's always more. And all of a sudden there's this shadowy figure, like in the shadows, like a man, like smoking a cigarette or looking like super shady, to be honest. Right. And I was like, thank God. And I was screaming at the coyote, and he comes out. He's like, what's going on? And I was like, there's a coyote. And he starts yelling, and he like gets in front of me, and the coyote runs away. So I thought, thank God for this shady man that I would have been terrified of if,
Saved
5
the
minutes
day.
earlier. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah. But I guess, here's what I was thinking too. Like, okay, women are so afraid of men, and men don't realize this, and they need to understand this more. But like, what are men afraid of? Like, if men, we have to be aware that men are predators. This is what I would like to know. Okay, men, here's a question for you. Would you rather be in the woods alone and encounter a bear, or encounter Jackie from the UVA Rolling Stone rape hoax case?
I mean, that's an easy one, isn't it? I mean, it depends on the bear. Your bear was like a cute little guy.
No, but would you rather encounter a woman who there's a likelihood, there's a chance that this woman is going to accuse you of raping her?
Okay, that's a bunch of my bears.
That's the kind of danger that women. That's the
okay. So we cleared it up for them though. We just said Jackie. Like we specifically said like
Jackie.
It's a woman with bad intentions.
Bear. See, here's the audience. They're all saying.
They're all saying bear. That's what I was saying. They're just.
But like, I mean, look, I just think that we forget that women are capable of doing damage, their own kind of damage. I'm watching this show everybody's watching now, Baby Reindeer. Speaking of animals, it's about a guy who has a female stalker.
Okay.
And it's not as great as everybody says it is.
Okay.
It's a good thing for us to talk about it. So I'm taking one for the team, and I'm going to watch the whole thing. But it's just about how complicated these things are, and how manipulated, manipulating and scary women are capable of being. And
I just
how
don't think
men
they're
can
not
be
scaring
nice
that
and
visceral
get
way,
involved
right?
in that.
Like, I mean, I think that was the point of the bear thing. Like, you might be afraid of a woman like socially, but let's say you're in the woods and you're this is it. Like, it's apocalypse has happened. There's nothing but the woods. There's no social world for Jackie to screw you over in. Well, you're more afraid of the bear, no matter what. Women are scary in a social sense, but men are just scary in like a physical sense. I went to like a dinner the other day, and there was a point in which I was sitting close to these two dudes who were both fucking enormous. Like, to me, not to them, they're like, oh, we're just normal, like, tall guys. But to me, I was like, I cannot believe how big they are.
Wow.
And I mean, it's just psychically, it's just a little strange, And I think
were they like somebody's bodyguards or something? What was this doing?
No, this was like, this was, no, nothing to do with that. But it's, I think that men can't empathize. Like, if you imagine if you were in a different planet, you know, and in that planet there were creatures that were like humanish, but they were like the Rock versus you, you know, like they were so much bigger than you, they were a foot taller than you, way stronger than you, built to to physically endure and fight and win. And they also had a mindset that was of like an MMA fighter. Like they're so much more aggressive than you are, and they know how to use violence. I think that's you know, and they're into you, like, and they like you, and you know, and they want to see more of you, and they want to, you know, they think you have a nice, pretty mouth, whatever. Like they're making these comments, and I think that it's just a different situation. I remember there was like a Funny or Die kind of video. Remember they used to have those like college humor videos where they had I don't know if it was that exactly, but it was something like that where it was like a parody of what guys do to women in bars, and they just basically reversed the sexes, and the women were aggressively hitting on the guys in this really annoying way. The guys are just like, I just want to dance, like leave me alone, you know, and like um and the women were all over them. And I thought it was, you know, it was funny, except it didn't, because it didn't um actually mirror the physicality of it. Right. It was just silly, you know, it was just funny, because you know that if that guy really wanted to get away, all he had to do was just like elbow her out of the way. Like if she can't really like look over his shoulder and freak him out in that way.
Although then they'll be accused of
not in this scenario,
hitting a woman.
In this scenario, I think they're just, you know, it's supposed to be that like, oh, what if women were cads and men just wanted to be like dance with their friends or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was funny, and I get where some of these, you know, ladies are coming from. I just think it's like, okay, we get it, and now you need to just stop talking about it, because it's just like you know,
yeah, it's kind of, I kind of feel like, you know, 2017 called and wants its jokes back, you know.
And I think most men are pretty aware of the difference and the physical difference and the kind of effect they have on women, and they try to like pull back and be as harmless seeming as possible. I think they make that effort. It's pretty clear that they do.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't see the point, you know, in just talking about it over and over, because the kind of guy who's really going to like rape you or abuse you or whatever, he's not going to feel differently now that you've made this bear metaphor. You know what I'm saying? Like, like he's still going to.
He's probably going to want to rape you more.
I mean, yeah,
he's going to put on a grizzly bear costume and rape you.
Yeah. Just, what's going to happen is the nice, sensitive dude is going to see this and is going to be like, oh no, I'm so scary to women. I can never approach a woman.
Yeah, they're going to be.
I don't want to frighten her.
No, we're making them more incelish.
Exactly. And then no one's going to ask you out. Is that what these women want?
Nobody that is what they want, apparently.
Again? I mean, that's what they're getting.
I mean, they want to date a bear. I mean, I did, we'll get off of this, but I did actually, I mean, it's funny, but when the catcalling discourse was going around several years ago now, it did occur to me that like guys don't realize how common this is, because men never catcall a woman if she's walking down the street with a man, like ever. Like it's literally like the minute he disappears, it's like the minute there's not a guy there, it happens.
Yeah.
So they really never do it. I mean, I remember talking about this with my like husband at the time, and I was like, wow, you really like, you've never actually been there when a woman is being catcalled that you're with, because they would never be catcalled.
Yeah. I mean, not too clearly in front of you. They would just like kind of.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, when you go,
it wouldn't be the kind of like super aggressive thing that you get when you're alone. Yeah, definitely.
Right. Definitely. Or when you're with your girlfriends or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get the worst of it when I'm alone. I feel like the worst, scariest encounters that I've ever had with men or with groups of men. The scariest thing was like a group of like older teenagers. I got out of a subway and like the metro here, and they just surrounded me and just started like sort of grabbing me.
What?
Their arm. Yeah, it was so, and saying all kinds of things and like sort of this was a long time ago.
Were they fans of the podcast, or was
no? I mean, maybe they should have listened to the pod, and then they would have known not to do that because it's scary.
They would have
but
been repulsed.
But it was, yeah, it was really frightening, and it was, like, in broad like, I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
daylight, it was night kind of night-ish, but, they were just openly kind of they just surrounded me, other people can see me, I think they counted on me not screaming or running
Oh
away
my
or whatever,
god.
and I just sort of, like, I don't know, I don't even remember what happened, but I just sort of broke out of it and, like, ran. Um, I didn't feel like they were gonna rape me or anything because it was public, but they were trying to do something and get away with something. And it
Wow.
was yeah, and it was like a group of, like, youngish dudes, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
that was a scary thing that happened, and I had just moved to DC. I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, here."
Was it
No, it was
senators?
fine.
Was it a group of,
Mm,
congressmen?
it no,
Mm,
surprisingly, it was
okay.
not, but,
Um,
um,
alright. Well, I think we've
yeah,
covered this.
yeah,
So,
nothing else to say.
yeah. Alright. Well, speaking of, getting, attacked on the street, and such, I was just in New York. I just got back. I had a couple of items of business there, but I attended an event that many of our best friends were involved in, and that was Dissident Dialogues.
Mhm.
It was a big. It was like sort of what do they call that thing in the
Woodstock?
when that was like what is that thing in the Coachella? It was like the
Coachella.
Coachella of the
It was where
heterodoxy.
the young people yeah, it's,
Hmm.
the ACL, the yeah, South
Um,
by of heterodoxy, yes.
Yeah. So I was in a it was in a huge venue. There was a stage. I mean, there were several hundred people there. Many, many speakers.
How much did the
Uh,
tickets cost?
I think there
Do
were
we
a
know?
lot. I mean, it's like several $100s,
People be
perhaps.
having money, man. Like,
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I spent several $100s on any ticket to go somewhere.
Yeah. So
Maybe
I
it was
mean,
ACL. I think it was actually ACL. Like, that was the last time.
what's ACL?
It's a music festival in Austin.
It is. Never heard of it. Okay.
Really?
ACL.
Am I mispronounced? No, yeah, ACL.
Okay.
Yeah, Austin City Limits? You've
Oh,
never heard
Austin
of it?
City Limits. Oh, that's a yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I just never
Oh,
knew
okay.
that it
No.
was ACL is like the thing you tear in your okay, this is a
Well,
generation
you do
divide, yeah.
tear I mean,
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah. Oh, Austin okay, Austin City Limits.
yeah,
I
so
was
that was
just
that it's a
spell
3-day,
it
like,
out. Okay.
festival, and it's,
Yeah.
like, you're in Zilker Park, and
Mhm.
it's disgusting, and the grass gets all gross, and everybody's high, and you lose your friends a couple times, and that's it, and then you, like, can't hear really well for a while because it's so
Okay.
loud.
Okay. Okay.
So, great experience.
All right. Um, so yeah, they were I mean, Ion Hercieli and Kathleen Stock and Mary Harrington and Michael Moynihan and the the trigonometry guys, on and on. Everyone we know, all in under one roof. If they wanted to take us out all in one all at once, they could have easily done it.
Oh my
Um,
god, don't even say things now you're putting the ideas into
I
the
know. Well,
heads
it's
of the
over.
terrorist.
It's over now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. Okay.
And I was just in the audience. I was not participating, but we had many fans. Many people came up and said they loved our podcast, and I thought it was good. I thought there was a VIP area that was like sort of above in this like kind of effectively like this big loft space above everything else, and that was kind of weird. Um,
That's important. I wanna physically also, like, demarcate just be like, this is
mhm.
where we are. Where you guys this
Yeah,
is
I
where
know. Yeah. So I don't know. What do people have? I don't really know what there's to say. What do people have questions? Um,
I had lots of questions. I mean,
mhm.
we talked about it, we debriefed a little bit because I did not go. I was in New York for just, like, a brief period of time. I met some friends, and then I had to come back. But I saw some of the people that were speaking at Dissident Dialogues, and it seemed amazing. I wanna know about what you thought about the, Ion
Yeah,
Richard
with Richard
Dawkins,
Dawkins. Yeah,
like,
talking about
debate. Yeah.
Christianity.
Mm.
Um, I didn't hear that one as well because I was in the VIP. I was watching it from the
just
VIP,
schmoozing
from the
in the
VIP lounge.
Okay, you
It
can't
was
hear
hard to
well.
hear.
Okay.
It was hard to hear.
They didn't have a separate like TV thing like for
Well, there was
usually
a
in the VIP
huge
lounges they have-
jumbotron. No, the VIP lounge you had to sort of like lean over the balcony to hear it.
Oh.
Yeah, but there was a huge jumbotron. If you were in the audience, you could you could see like every pore on somebody's face. Is horrifying.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I think she talked. I mean, she talked very candidly about going through a period of real depression, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but like real crisis, like really really low point in her life, and how finding Christianity or some kind of faith had brought her out of it. And Richard Dawkins was saying things like, well, that's nonsense. You're sort of attaching yourself to something that for which there's no evidence. And I think the crowd was really on her side. What was interesting about it, it was a very, very critical minded crowd. Everybody's into facts over feelings and that kind of thing. But there were several moments over the course of the 2 days where people had very emotional stories or reactions to things. And the audience was really won over by that. I thought that was notable.
Yeah, I also think that's where everyone is emotionally, regardless of where they are rationally or intellectually. They're kind of in this, we need shelter from wokeism or all these like insane ideas going around, and if religion sounds good again, or the idea of it, maybe not religion, but the idea of religion sounds good again. So
yeah. Bridget Fetisi did a stand-up. She did a couple things. She did jokes, which in a really hard room, it was this, cavernous space. I believe it was actually technically used as a hangar for yachts.
Really?
This is at Navy Yard. So it was like, where the boats can come in. So it was like this big sort of glass airplane hangar type of structure that was apparently for yachts. And it was very echoey. It was a really hard gig. So she really did a terrific job doing a stand-up set and joking about the people there. She said something like the VIP lounge was sort of hovering above everybody. So if you're lucky, you can get, it's within spitting distance of the audience. So if you're lucky, you might get Richard Dawkins' DNA on you if he spit from the VIP lounge to the audience.
So where you want the VIP lounge to be hidden away. That's what you want. But maybe you don't have the choice.
You want to be seen. It was a very nightclub kind of vibe to it, the whole thing.
If that was what it was, if it was not a usual event space, then I can see why the VIP would want to be displayed. Because that's part of like if you have like a concert or some kind of club event, and then you have like a rapper or somebody, like you want people to be like, whatever. But for something like this, you want them to be hidden. Oh my God, I would hate to be like speaking and not hidden. I like it when there's like a private room, and even the walk to it, like
yes, I know you don't
in the back,
yeah,
and no one can even see that you're entering there, and then you can just like unwind there or practice whatever you're talking about, whatever it is you need to do, like pick your nose, whatever, fix your hair, makeup. You can do that
way.
Yeah. And it's always nice to have that little.
Now you're kind of on from the minute you get there. You're on. And
sometimes there's like a VVIP.
Which maybe there was, and I just
I'm never invited, but sometimes there have been times where I've gone in anyway.
Let's see. There was a very heated debate / discussion about Israel Gaza.
Right. Yeah. with
the Bree Joy Gray.
Bree
so
Gray,
she was on the pro-Palestinian side. I guess the question was, is Gaza a just war? I believe that was the title of the event, and it was Bree Joy Gray and poor guy who keeps being referred to as some other guy. I believe he was a fairly last minute substitute for someone else. Anyway, she and her debate partner versus Eli Lake and Michael Moynihan. And it was really, and Konstantin Kisin from Trigonometry was the moderator. And it was very heated. And Eli Lake at one point ended up saying that he thought that not only is it a just war, but that Israel should end up winning the Nobel Peace Prize for the way it's conducting it.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Look, not going to do it. I'm not going to fire that gun right now, but whatever. I have committed to no comment or no direct comment on the situation until the dust has settled. But
it was really, I mean, they should have had ambulances parked outside. I think people's blood pressure was really going up.
She is forceful.
Yeah.
Forceful speaker.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think this is her greatest issue. Like, I don't think this is the issue where she makes the most kind of sense.
There was a lot of talking points about genocide and, children, et cetera, et cetera. It was a lot of emotions. But you know what? I'm not equipped to discuss this subject, and I'm not going to.
I want to hear like a general reporting. Talk about it. You know what I mean? I want to hear somebody who works, like who is in the, teaches at the Marine Corps University, like tactics and strategy. And I want to hear like that's the guy, like somebody who's, their faces, like they have a specific kind of face.
Versus like the tactical chief for Hamas.
Right. Exactly. Compared to, but I really want to hear about not just like what, because there's all this conversation about what should be done and ethically, but I also want to hear about what is literally,
what could be done better? Like what is the alternative?
Is it possible for the supposed genocidal actor to be doing things differently and also winning, like also not losing their own? I mean, this is a war, right? But I feel as if there's just like, it's just children screaming constantly who are not looking at the reality of what a war means. And I don't think that delaying, like this kind of delay that's been going on, is actually very good for the Palestinians. I mean, okay, sorry, we're not supposed to talk. I'm not going to talk about it. But delaying is not good, right? Like a forceful conclusion is good because the society can like rebuild, but delay is not great. It's bleeding them slowly. Okay, sure, done. Not talking about it
anyway.
Anymore.
That was a highlight of the weekend, and there was lots. There was a gender panel. There were a couple gender panels, I believe. There was one with Michael Schellenberger and Mia Hughes, who's been on our podcast. She was the author of the W Path Files. And Stella O'Malley and Maud Marin were also on the panel. And I think Schellenberger was moderating it. Am I forgetting anyone? I think that was everybody. And that was excellent. They had a real grasp on the issue. And I thought that one was very good. What else? There were some people who got up and did solo sort of talks, which was very stunning and brave, literally, because in a crowd like that, in a venue like that, that's hard
so much
to do.
harder. It's so much harder. Solo talks in general are hard. Solo podcasts are hard. Solo everything is just way harder.
Yeah. There was an event, something like Have Universities Failed or something like that with
have they?
John McWhorter and Kathleen Stock and I can't remember.
What did they? What side was? Okay, no, John McWhorter and Kathleen Stock were saying yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure people. I'm looking in the comments here to see if people are gonna remind me.
Yeah, people are. I think not many of the people who are in the chat, I think, went.
Overall, it is pretty remarkable how ravenous the appetite is for this kind of thing. So I guess that's good for us. Although it's also hard to talk about this stuff without, turning it into kind of red meat. I mean, it sort of presented the similar kind of conflict that I think all of us have in the podcasting space, is like how to make it work without getting super
boring,
one-sided, clickbaity. Not boring, but how to not be clickbaity. And I mean, by definition, this was like a big event that needed to be like, have universities fail.
Yeah, it's like the Bill Maher show where you're or my debate, like my debate, which was
exactly.
You had 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes to talk about, has the sexual revolution failed, like this huge topic, and how can I possibly do a good job? Even if you're the best, most eloquent speaker around, you really have to like make things as like whittle them down to their essence or just what people understand to be the essence. So I don't think there's a way to do it right, but
No.
that doesn't mean it can't be enjoyable. And I think for attendees, like anytime I attend conferences, it's really meeting the other attendees. That's super fun, and like maybe running into like a speaker and getting a chat with them. Like I think the attendee experience is different. The speaker experience is a whole other thing, but attendees can enjoy it even if all the talks are garbage.
It was really fun. We had several women from the Unspeakeasy come. I mean, local people who were local to New York, and a lot of women flew in. I mean, it was nice. We had our whole little section in the audience. It was lovely to see. So
look at you.
I'm sure there will be
cult.
I'm sure
a cult of your own.
Yes, I'm sure there will be more. Somebody had a nuanced AF shirt on, one of my merch items.
You made it.
I mean, just some not one of ours, just one of our, some, a man, a bear. I don't know if it was a man or a bear, but it was wearing if the bear was wearing like a, official podcast merch, would it be more scary or less?
That's a big question. If a man is wearing it, he's more scary.
Definitely rapier. If you were walking in the woods and you ran into a man who had podcasting equipment,
ooh,
would you be more scared or less? I'd be more. Yeah.
Frightened. Yeah. Frightened for sure.
Yeah.
Not for my life, but for my
your
sanity,
reputation,
for my reputation, emotional well-being, a lot. High stakes environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be like Chris Williamson if he was in the forest. He was like using the forest background as one of his amazing production backdrops.
My God, how much
he had
his
whole setup. He had like lighting.
It's amazing.
And he had just this like, entire production team.
We need to, that's what we need to, we need to be like him. This is what we need to work towards.
I know.
And we can, get a yacht. And it's like because people seem to like it. People seem to like the idea of us going on the sea.
Oh.
Which means they want to see me throw up for hours on end. Just
if it was a big enough boat, I think we could book the Icon of the Seas cruise ship.
Eventually. We'll work up to it. That's our big goal. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so that was Dissident Dialogues. Very fun overall. Interesting trip to New York. I did run into some people, after that whole spending 2 days with all the thought criminals. I was hanging out with some sort of normies, people from the old writing community in Brooklyn. And a couple of them like had no idea that anybody thought that the student protesters were anything but fabulous.
So wait, clarify. You said normie, but then you said writers.
Well, and they were not thought criminal. They were not heterodox people.
Okay, so they were normie writers.
They were
writers, like, which means they're not normies.
Right, they're not normies, but they were people in Brooklyn who I knew from the literary world.
Okay,
and they were like, "Well, wait, what do you mean people don't like what are you talking about? Like they're amazing. Everybody loves them." It was like it was as if it was a done deal. There was no. there was no debate. As far as they were concerned, this was a universally approved of phenomenon. I mean, it just shows like what silos we're in.
How old were these people? Also,
they were in their 40s, and I'd say 40s,
so old enough to know
a little bit older.
But
yeah.
I worry about the silo thing all the time. And I just don't have any other, like, how do you get a pulse on America anymore? Like, what's the reliable way to understand where the majority of people are without going in and like, going to several states and doing like a little mini poll? But even then, logical. Yeah. I mean, there's right. I once took a class on polling.
I know you've mentioned this a few times, yeah. Sarah. We know about your
listen,
polling
I'm like
class.
I'm basically I am like Nate Silver, but
we know why you took the class.
But I'm not sports
ball
ball person.
You paid such close attention. But yeah.
Well, you know what? One day it'll get out to him. My handsome professor who made me take. I mean, he didn't make me take, but he persuaded me.
Oh, really?
He was just good looking. He was just good looking. No, if only. No, he didn't do any of that. He was just a good professor and he was good looking. Okay, what else?
So
Yeah.
yeah,
How do you know? How do you know the state of what's going on?
no,
Do you think we're in a bubble?
I'm totally in a bubble. I mean, it just the algorithm shows me what it knows I want to read. It's really terrifying.
I've been
They had
seeing
literally
like
not seen one social media post, one piece of news media that said anything other than the protesters at Columbia and on other campuses are amazing and this is the future and the cops are horrible and the cops are violent and this is Kent State all over again and it's shocking and appalling what's happening. These well-meaning kids, they just want to protest a genocide in peace, and how dare the New York City Police Department come and like forcibly remove them. I mean, the New York City Police Department is the best trained police department in the world, probably. I mean, so well run, so hands off, especially in a situation like that. So diverse. I mean, I would like to even know what percentage of the New York City PD is white. I wonder if it's even in. I wonder if whites are even.
They're all
majority.
symbolic. They're all politically white. They're spiritually white. I think the cops thing is so fascinating. Like there was a time where I thought about writing about it a little bit, where just I felt as if the cop hatred is like should be interpreted as class warfare, like in a way, like if you're this like elite kind of American, like you're this young privileged person and you have a lot of ideas about the right way to be and the right way to think, normie sort of Bible Belt America, Rust Belt, whatever, they don't, they offend you in a lot of ways and you want to be able to show how you are better than them. However, they are economically like disadvantaged, you could say, but like they don't have power in that sense, and that's clear. So you can't pick on them directly. You can kind of pick on this avatar of them, but that avatar has to have some kind of formal authority, like they're
yeah, because you got to punch up, right?
Yeah, so that you can feel good about punching them, because who are cops, like what kind of person becomes a cop? It is
someone
never anybody
whose dad was a cop, don't you know?
Yeah, right, but it's a working class person, like, I mean, forget about race. It's always somebody who comes from a certain kind of like social like background, and I just feel like this is like it's the easy avatar, it's the one crafted to be able to take that punch that you really want to do. Like, you really want to hit somebody else, but you're not allowed to, if you would feel bad doing it.
Well, it would be a bad look, but this
it would be
is
a
not
bad look.
I
But
mean,
it's not a bad look to do this to cops, even though they come from that community. Always, like always, like this is a very
really. I'd like to know if anyone who ever went to Brown is a cop. Or I would like to find
had a PhD and is a cop or whatever. Well, I mean, but there's restrictions.
We know Peter Moskos, who was a Baltimore City cop, who does have a PhD in sociology or criminal justice. The one guy, he's so great when he talks about this stuff. He's been on my other podcast a few times. So him, but he was actually already a graduate student, I think, when he was working as a Baltimore City cop. And I was always like wondering how they possibly put up with him. But he said they were quite nice about it. But yeah, no, there was some footage I noticed. I don't know what campus this was, but some unhinged protester woman, an adult woman, it didn't look like a college student, was like yelling at this cop. And she's going, go back to Queens, you fatty. And it's like,
fatty?
Wow. It's like, you are fat and you live in Queens. So that was a real own. She owned
We're allowed to call people fat now?
You know what?
That's what I'm hearing from
call them fat if they're.
What I want to know is.
I think you
can do it if they're a white man.
I think I'm not even sure this guy was white, to be honest.
Oh my God.
He was a little bit
Hispanic,
off-white.
like kind of Hispanic.
I don't know.
Off-white. Okay, well that's and then in a cop uniform, then you're white, right? Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so yeah, but I don't know what there is to say about the protesters. They've now canceled the main commencement at Columbia.
I'd feel bad to be a student, just like a regular
Yeah, and
student.
speaking of
You're just trying to go to
classism,
class.
I'd also
Shit, like
seen some sentiments on Twitter along the lines of, "Oh, who even cares about graduating? Like nobody basically the idea was nobody cool gets all, worked up. Then you don't need to walk in your graduation ceremony. Like that's just sort of for like plebes." It's like, how classist can you be? Okay?
well,
Uh,
I graduated early from high school and college because of like economic reasons. Like my dad had some issues like with college, especially like high school. I wanted to get out, so that was for different reasons, slightly different reasons. But then with college, I loved college. I wanted to stay in college, but my dad had some health problems and they were really scary. And I was the eldest child, and I felt like this immense pressure to like graduate, so just get my degree in my hand so that if the worst happened, I would be there to support my family. And I would have really hated it if these protesting kids like did something to impact my graduation.
Well, we're
I would
talking
have
about the
just been,
graduation ceremony, just to be
but
clear. It's
I
not
mean,
like they're
okay,
not giving you people their diplomas,
right,
but
but every time they get in, they're like, "No, you can't cross this, or you can't go here, you can't get to class." Like, I mean, they're getting in the way of students who might have like a very tough schedule, or have like a difficult
yeah.
close call kind of a situation. Like that's how I had it, where I could not have lost a single credit. I could not have, I needed to have a certain kind of GPA. I needed to do like a few things in the exact right way so that I could graduate in the way that I needed to. Um, anyway, whatever.
Yeah, and just the idea that no, if you're cool, you don't care about putting on a cap and gown and walking your graduation ceremony. What if you're the first in your family to go to college? Like, what if your
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
your relatives are coming to watch you do that, and it's like one of the most important things in the history of the family? It's
Yeah.
so myopic.
But that's the whole thing is just one big LARP. It's so incredible to me that I don't think it reflects what's going on in the war at all. It's just its own thing. I have thought that from day one. From day one, I was like, oh, it's a LARP. Like just this whole the protest that started like, October 8th. I was like, these people have no idea. They have no they this what's going on here is a completely different,
Mhm.
like internally motivated kind of a thing. It's not really responding to the facts on the ground
No.
in any real way. It's responding to a bunch of other stuff that's hanging around in our political context. But in any case, it's just disgusting to me. Like this is the kind of activism that I can't stand. This
Right.
LARPy, like fake, fake, fake. They don't know what's going on. They have no idea why the situation is the way it is. Like I don't feel like I'm a scholar on Israel Gaza. Like, but every time I run into somebody in IRL who is like this, and I ask them some basic questions, they don't have no idea what they're talking about. It's like I remember when the, I had some conversations with people about Bezos, like the same kind of types of people who are like um protest, like big money, these billionaires who gotta, and why doesn't Bezos just like pay for people's Medicare? Like, why doesn't he just do it? And I was like, do you have any idea what we spend on Medicare every year? Like, what is the budget? Like, what is the United States budget? How much can he afford, and how long can he afford it? Like, do you have any idea what the but they
Mhm.
didn't. They don't. They don't. They have no idea. They've never even thought to look it up.
Did you see the video of the protester Joanna King Slutsky, aka
No,
Kafia
but that's a great
Karen?
name. Hold on, Kafia Karen.
Right. So she's the one who was saying that the protesters needed to receive humanitarian aid
Oh yeah, that was funny.
because
That was funny.
they could die of dehydration.
What else? But that's what I'm saying. They're LARPing. They're like, we are basically it's like it's like stolen valor kind of a thing. Like they're pretending as if they are the language shows how they see themselves in this place of these victims, these marginalized people.
Mhm.
Humanitarian aid for you're a little chubby girl. Like you don't need you like what are you talking about? Like what?
No.
How can this possibly apply? Why would you use this terminology? It's offensive. It's offensive to people who are actually starving that you would use that term to apply to you.
Because they are living out some kind of fantasy. It's no surprise that Joanna King Slutsky's area of interest.
It's a great name. I don't know. That's a great name.
I know. I knew somebody with the. I mean, Slutsky. It's with a Z.
Name.
It's not an S.
Oh. Okay, but still,
it's not an uncommon name. Okay, but so this is her dissertation. This is on the Columbia University website. She's a PhD student. My dissertation is on fantasies of limitless energy in the transatlantic romantic imagination from 1760 to 1860. My goal is to write a prehistory of metabolic rift, Marxist term for the disruption of energy circuits caused by industrialization under capitalism. I'm particularly interested in theories of the imagination and poetry as interpreted through a Marxian lens in order to update and propose an alternative to historicist ideological critiques of the romantic imagination. This is for you, Sarah. Prior to joining Columbia, I worked as a political strategist for leftist and progressive causes and remain active in the higher education labor movement. So she's into stories and fantasy and projection.
She's on drugs, man. None of that made any kind of sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But here's the thing. I mean, people were making fun of this dissertation description, which, it's understandable because it's kind of
babble. It's social justice babble. Yeah.
But it is. But you know what? The thing is, that is a separate thing from her ridiculous, we send humanitarian aid to our Patagonia tent encampment. Yeah, I mean, whatever.
It's all fake.
Yeah, I know. But
from the perspective that it's all kind of performance.
I know. But I mean, this is not apparently metabolic rift is some kind of concept that comes out of Marxist, whatever. She didn't. Sure, it's not all totally out of left field. It is
kind of a little bit real.
It has there is an internal logic to her ideas. So we should just say this is not complete. I mean, it is gobbledygook, but it is its own. It is its own gobbledygook. But yeah, I do think the LARPing thing is real. But you wonder how much LARPing was going on during the SDS movement, in the 60s. Obviously the stakes were different. You had people being drafted into a war. Your friends, yourself, your brother was being sent away and being killed for a war that made no sense at all. So that's different. But you wonder how many people were just along for the LARP.
Well, the Black Power movement definitely had a LARP element for sure. And that's always been the case, which is what's so interesting to me that 2020 was not new really. It was just the same old thing again. That it just happens to take this particular form because I think that people need this avatar, and that I think that there's a bunch of privileged people, young people who need to feel a certain way about themselves in relation to their environment. And every so often a cause comes up that allows them to feel this way. And I think that the Palestine-Israel thing for that person, it's what George Floyd was, and now they've just picked up the baton for another group of marginalized people who they don't know anything about, who they are not, they don't actually, they're not real. They're fantasy creatures. And now they're picking up the, I just feel I've lost interest almost in talking about it. What's interesting, to the degree that anything is interesting about it, is that it seems to have expanded. I feel like it's becoming so much more normalized, and
what are you talking about specifically? The LARP?
That kind of activist LARP. Yeah. Even if the extreme person is few and far between, the base of sympathy is bigger than it's ever been. And I just wonder if we're all converting into this kind of privileged, fiction world inhabiting idiot, and that's a function a little bit of our prosperity.
Yeah.
And existing in this online world without any real meaning, and so we have to craft meaning through these fake wars. And I mean, Israel is a real, like, Gaza is a real
You
war.
think that's
but
why Hamas invaded? Because I want to see
I
this
just think
District of Columbia LARP. We just
I
want to.
just
They're
think
just
that
rubbing their hands together. Say, right
the
on
war
cue.
as it is playing out here, in the minds and imaginations of Americans is not real. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, well, do we have any more to say about that?
I don't. Let me see what people are saying.
People said all kinds of things.
here.
People asked questions too. Hold on. What are they? Somebody asked me, "Oh, what am I drinking?" Let's see. I'm drinking Redbreast with a melted ice cube. Redbreast
What is
12,
that?
not 15. It's a copper still, like it's a Irish whiskey.
You're drinking alcohol?
Yes.
Sarah,
I am.
don't you respect the work?
I am. I think I drink every time when we record at this time. When we record at this hour. Because to me, this is so late. And I don't know. I don't want to have coffee. But I want to be on something. And so this is it.
Wow. Okay.
It's early for you to drink.
Yeah.
But you could do it.
I don't drink anymore. I quit drinking.
What?
It's horrible. I don't recommend it.
Did I know this? I knew this.
I don't know. Yeah, a couple years ago.
Did you tell? Oh, that
sucks. I know.
What do you do? What else do you do? Do
nothing. I have nothing left.
No.
Nothing left.
Okay, so you won't come with me to the ayahuasca retreat?
You're doing that?
I mean, no, probably not. I don't know if it's ever going to work out for me. But I would love it.
I think we should go to the woods and do ayahuasca and see who comes
along. And then we
along.
run into like a bear or a man or a man bear.
In our imagination.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you can do ayahuasca and not drink. That's not required. You don't have to be. Yeah. Okay, what else do people want to know?
Somebody, well, there are lots of people are saying lots of things.
Let's see. They're into your whiskey.
Somebody said definitely not what we call leftist. My support of the police has been deeply jaded by personal experience. I know there are lots of good police, but my experience have been awful. I mean, I've heard of a lot of awful cases as well, especially in like small towns where there's like not a lot of like, it's different with like New York, I think, where there's like a bigger kind of mechanism. It's interesting that the small towns are where like the abuse tends to happen. But that's true of all public officials. Like that's where you're going to see like the little corruption, and it's like a little, Mogadishu and
yeah. Although my neighbor, I have a neighbor in New York who got arrested for something like blocking. He just got into like a fight with a cop or something, and he got thrown in jail. I got this crazy call from.
He got into a fight with a cop?
I got this crazy call from this friend of my neighbor's, and she said, "Oh my gosh, can you go get his dog? Can you go in his apartment and take care of his dog for the night because he's in jail?" And I didn't know what happened. And then he got out, and apparently he had just gotten into some altercation over some stupid thing with the cop, and they threw him in jail.
That is really stupid. It sucked. And he deserved it.
No, I felt bad.
Like, I'm sorry.
This was like a 60-year-old guy,
Okay, but don't fight with a cop. Like, don't.
No, I know.
Don't fight with cops. I don't know. Really like, just plead. Just like, I don't know. I do the whole. I don't even fake it. One, because I can't.
That's your female privilege, though.
But I also just genuinely don't like being in trouble.
No, me neither.
And that's what it is. Like when you get pulled over by a cop, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. And then I'm just so upset by the whole situation. They can tell. They can see it. And they're nicer to me because of it. So that's nice. Oh, we got our money, finally. Thank you. To who? Oh, God. What's this? How do I pronounce this?
Oh, is this... I can't...
Impossible.
Minoj,
you gotta do it.
Juno. Any chance we'll get to hear Sarah speaking Urdu for any length of time?
I don't want to be made fun of for my accent, so I get enough of that. Maybe not. I don't know. You gotta get more than $5 for that. But
this person,
wait, should I? Because this person is given, so now I should.
One of our listeners said he got pulled over 21 times before I turned 21. One moving violation. I think that might be a typo.
What?
21 times? How's that possible?
One moving.
Let's see.
It was being targeted for boredom's sake. Oh.
Wait, do we know Michael Moynihan trying to decide if the fifth column would be too irreverent a podcast for the two of you or not? Well, yes, I know. We know him. I've been on the fifth column.
We know him. I've been on the. Have I been? No, I have been on it, but it was only with Camille. I was like, maybe they didn't want to talk to me. Moynihan and Matt Watts.
They were on. I was on when my book, The Problem with Everything, came out. Back when they were doing it at the studio in Midtown. But you really have to like be aggressive. If you're a guest, it's like you can't just wait for them to introduce you.
Like that. Well, no, so I was just with Camille, which was great. Like I got to talk, and it was no big deal. But then I did go to New York once, and they were recording, and I just wanted to say hi to Camille or something, and then he was like, they're recording, and then they were recording, I think in Michael Moynihan's place. And then later we hung out a little bit, and I couldn't get a word in.
No.
I was like, I'm glad this is not how I was recorded, because it was just
Do you think
no way I could have talked over them.
Do you think that it's harder for women to get a word in than men? They get that criticism a lot, that when they have a female guest, they won't let her talk.
They won't let anyone talk.
Yeah.
You just gotta fight it. You just gotta fight.
You do have to fight.
Like the thing is, I'm not willing to fight. What it is that just I can't say. Can we say bad words on this chat? Like, is YouTube going to kick us out? I wanted to say a vagina, a bad word for that. But I'm not. I don't want to. I don't want to fight like in the way they can fight. Which is like they've got bigger lungs. They have really shout.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's like women's sports teams that you can't compete with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what if Michael Moynihan wanted to like join the women's swim team? It wouldn't be fair because
it wouldn't be fair.
His lungs are stronger from talking so much.
Yeah,
an unfair fight. Yeah,
they are funny. And it moves fast. Their conversations move fast. I think it is like men really do approach their conversations like a tournament. Like it really is like a fight.
I know. I have so many. For another time, I really want to tease out this idea, like, are women naturally inferior? No, we were talking about this earlier.
In what?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. I was at this executive training. Well, I'll shout out to our listener, Michael Melcher, who's an executive coach who has a book called Your Invisible Network, The Strength of Weak Ties, something like that. Basically, the concept is like people you meet along the way who are not necessarily your close friends or close business associates. Like they can end up just making all the difference in your career. Like you should just connect with as many people as possible because you never know what's going to kind of like open a door. But anyway, he had a retreat called The Convening. And it was an executive coaching retreat. He's an executive coach. And obviously I am not an executive, but he's, nice to me and let me come to this retreat. And the men were so much more executive like than the very impressive women. Everybody was very impressive, but there was something about the men. And so I was just thinking about this so much. And I went straight from that to Dissident Dialogues, which
you got a different kind of man. You got
a lot of men
you got
on
writer
stage.
Man. You got thinking dudes. Yeah, it's a different kind of man.
No, the executives were all really smart too. But I just thought,
no. I'm not saying about dumb. I'm saying in the sense of like the aura they give off.
Yes, leadership. Like, is there something? Are women?
Are you saying? What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I really need to think this out more.
Are not leaders. I think they're all leaders.
No, they are. Is what I'm saying is like there's something about
in my heart.
Like why at the end of the day were there almost certainly more men on that Dissident Dialogue stage than women? Why, despite decades of initiatives to get women into executive roles, are there still so many more men doing it?
Is it surprising? I don't even know if it's necessarily a thing of being better, because that is definitely part of it. Like I think in the sense of combat, like of course men are better at it, like duh, right? And to the extent that entrepreneurship shares some of the same qualities, of making it out anywhere, of course they're going to be better at it. but even if a woman has the natural like skills and like she could if she wanted to, if she really really needed to for some reason, she could step up. Women won't. We know that, like we know that there's female software engineers in India at a rate that we're not going to see here. We're not going to see in, you're not going to see in the Netherlands because they can get away with making good money at a nonprofit or whatever, NGO, some social service, like people type thing. They can make money that way. They'd rather make money that way. And they're not going to need to take those kinds of like courses or classes or go into that kind of work. They don't find it compelling or interesting, So there's
yeah.
There is just a strong element of this is not, I don't want it, I don't want to do it, even if I could.
Right.
I mean, so you think about like guns, right? Like, so guns, what are they supposed to do? Equalize violence, and I remember a long time ago, like hearing like this argument, like that this was like as a pro-gun argument, because really it's feminist.
Yes.
Because it allows women to have the strength of a man. It evens up the playing field. And so as people who support women and women's empowerment, you should support.
Do women have
gun rights?
Better hand-eye coordination than men?
Do women even own guns at the same rate? Do women, you know what I mean? Like if it was truly that women were capable and desirous of wanting this kind of lethal violence at the right there, so close by, they would do it, right? Like they would.
I know
be, like,
more women who are buying
have
guns, though. It's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, I know,
but they also rely. But the thing is, we don't buy guns because we rely on men to help us. I mean, that's the thing. We know if we're getting it, if something happens on the street, we are just going to assume or hope that some guy is going to come and intervene.
Yeah, we just don't think about it. It's not our primary purpose. Whatever. It's like that's not the thing that's running in our heads all the time. It is with men.
And think about our safety, but yeah.
Yeah, but not in a
right.
I'm about to fight it out. Not that kind of a way.
We have some money. Aaron, thank you.
Oh my gosh, so much money.
Oh my gosh, Ken, thank you.
Big money.
Here's another money, says Ken.
Oh my god.
Look, see, we're women, we're earners. We can
DB,
earn.
thank you, DB, for $10. Said thanks for the authentic conversation.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it is testosterone. Let's see.
Aaron Smithy, $4.99, $5. Congratulations for 5K subs. Yeah, and we're gonna cross that soon. And
yes,
Ken Tompkins.
Women are often better shooters than men. Yeah, I've heard that. Women are especially good at skeet shooting, apparently.
But there's also
I can skeet.
I don't know about that, because like, look, how many women are actually like? It's one of those selectivity things. You know what I mean? Like, if you took 50% of women or 100% of women, 100% of men, and then you tested them, where would they be? Versus the kinds of women who are really going to go into it are the ones who know they're very good. They know they're good. They enjoy being good, or they're in some kind of like special environment where they have a dad who's really into this, and like this is how they bonded as when they were young or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, there's something about it that's a selectivity thing that it couldn't possibly be that. I would not even believe it if you told me hand-eye coordination was like,
no,
I had it just seems so impossible to me to given what the little. Yeah,
because then women would be very good at video games.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We're very good at so many other catching balls. Okay. Like catching, like freaking just running and catching the ball, whatever. Like, it's not, I think there's some like, I remember reading books about this, like when I was pregnant and thinking about like gender differences. And there's all this like literature about like how girls develop differently than boys. And, it covered like differences in how girls and boys perceive, like in terms of our literal physical eyes and like the cones and whatever that we have. They're different. There's some differences in male eyes, female eyes, and the male eyes are basically optimized for movement and female eyes are optimized for color.
Oh.
Well, I thought that was
can't say we don't see color. Racist.
Yeah, I
little racists, little cute little racists.
But yeah, but that's it. It's kind of interesting, that the differences are there at that kind of like super minute level, which is actually terrifying. I wish I didn't read into all of that. That's part of the reason that I'm more like I kind of get where the bear man thing is coming from. Like I don't really, but I kind of do. I can kind of map into their headspace a little bit after like delving in so much into this gender stuff and then really finding out the intense, like how the gulf of male and female differences, like it's really not just like muscles and like bone, like length and strength or whatever. It is everything. It is so much. It is everywhere. Like they are optimized to kill people, to kill in general. It's just, I mean, like their blood carries more oxygen, like little shit like that. Like the lungs are better. They're like more, they can, you harness, and their bodies can like turn, like activate energy like faster or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the details, but
well,
remember
a
reading
little
into it, and it was
tea.
it was just terrifying.
This is why women stay taking testosterone and they get high off of it. The euphoria.
It's too late, ladies. It's too late. You're never gonna compete. Oh well, one of the I thought about noting that when with the bear conversation. Hate to bring it back to that, but it was.
Yeah.
I saw this on Twitter. Somebody went through the I guess the female to male subreddit, like one of the subreddits that is catering to trans men.
Okay.
Biological females who are transitioning to males, and they're talking about this like man bear conversation, and it's just like I'm reading from it. The bear versus man thing is damaging my mental health. Everything is damaging their mental health. I mean, come on, what is?
I think your mental health might have been pre-damaged, but okay.
I hate how I went from being treated well and valued when I passed as a woman, but now being treated as a threat to the point that people would rather choose a wild animal than a human being. It's actually crazy to me that there's no respect, and they talk about men like they're not people. Well, I agree with that last sentence.
Congratulations, and her transition has been successful.
Well, but here's the other thing. It hasn't. Nobody's afraid of her. Like when they're talking about this, like when people are talking about this, they're not talking about like a 5'3".
They're not talking about Elliot Page.
Like they're not talking about this. Yeah, exactly. They're not talking. It's like this is. There's somebody else I picture. Okay, there's just not. It's somebody with broader shoulders.
I would be. I mean, let's face it, though. If you or I were in the woods and we ran across like a trans activist, I would pick the bear every time.
Well, right.
That would not be safe. That would not be.
Bear's more predictable. That's for sure. Yeah. Well, but then it's so easy. Like you can just you just misgender them and they just fall apart,
crumble to the ground,
fall apart. And it just, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so there was lots of comments like this, which was really interesting. Like, it's a reality shock that most people don't realize when presenting as a man walking anywhere known, even if you look safe / clean cut / kind / happy. When you enter a woman's field of vision for the first time, they will visibly flinch and tighten up. This happens again and again. Every single day for your adult life. The subtle body language eats away at your psyche. What did I do wrong? How can I stop scaring people without doing anything wrong? Am I dangerous? Am I a monster?
To be victim. They love to feel threatened. This is all of it, from the women bragging about not feeling safe, bragging about being catcalled. Everybody, no matter what their
such an interesting biology, way of
no matter what their identity, they just people love to brag about how much danger they're in. There's just some kind of human impulse.
That's how you can have.
What.
That's how you have currency. That's how you. Right. That's how you get. That's actually how you get power. That's how you get social power in a hyper feminine environment. Is you cry like a baby, and all the mothers feel sorry for you and take care of you. Like that's what.
But is this okay? But all right. But it's also just if you live in a super safe place, you're going to have to create some kind of layer of fiction.
Sure. Yeah.
In order to access
something about it that's just I want to feel alive,
Right. Right.
But I think there's also, we just allow for this, you know what I mean? And they know that it is, they feel differently about disclosing this kind of information. There are cultures and universes in which this is shameful. Like it's shameful to admit that you're kind of the word that I'm not allowed to say. Maybe I'm not allowed to say. I need to find out, and then I would say it.
What's
and then
the word?
the same the vagina word that I can't say
see
because
you
it's
next
not
Tuesday? That word?
No, the one that means you're weak. Not the one that means you're a bitch, but yeah.
You're not allowed to say that on YouTube?
Am I not allowed to say it? Am I? Are you sure? I don't know. I don't know about any of this. Well, they were like, well, we have to say it's like
the one that rhymes
restricted.
with hussy, but
Yeah,
doesn't quite rhyme. The one that's
yeah. But I don't know if you're. I don't know. I need to like read up on this. I just
like
don't.
it's
I'm
a
just like
YouTube
terrified
violation?
of being. Or it's like an age thing, right? Like, is this meant for? It's like an age restricted thing. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I'll
Blank
find out.
in bio, that word. Yes,
That word.
That word. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there is something about this that just gets people some social credit. They get to feel special at being a victim. You know, when they are a victim, they feel special. Like being targeted means that you're, you know, there's something about you that's special. There's some, you know, and it grants you specialness. This is just not a world for me, I have to say. I want to be in a place where the strength is valued.
Okay, well, you're living in the wrong century. You're living in the wrong time.
No.
All right. Well, we've been going for a while. Anything else?
Wait, hold on. I have to check our subscriber only chat, or wait, maybe it wasn't subscriber only chat. Oops. See, this is what happens when I'm the admin.
Oh, yeah, I think
Stupid
we let
shit.
the hoi polloi in this one.
Uh-oh. Well, nobody responded except for like one person. So
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So
somebody brought up psychotherapy, so I don't want to talk about it. YouTube has recently had a slight disagreement about psychotherapy in schools. I mean, I'm in, you know, your Sarah's camp on that one. In similar vein, gender ideology might be prevalent in public schools. I'm curious how commonplace these teachings are and how parents would know if their kids are being taught this kind of garbage, short of axing. I said it. I revealed my my humble roots. Hey, have your short of asking kids
I think
directly.
we need to have an ask me anything.
Hey, this is this is racist. Okay. Hey, have your teacher said anything to you yet about maybe being born in the wrong body? So, how commonplace is that? Like where they would?
I don't know. I think it really depends on your city. So Maud Marin at the Dissident Dialogues was talking about what goes on in New York City public schools. She's been, you know, very involved in the Board of Ed and just local politics. I mean, she ran for Congress in her district, but she's also like education is her thing. And yeah, apparently this goes on in K through 12 public schools in New York City. And I think it's really so dependent on your city and state. So there could be people living in, you know, Kansas City who are just
also
not
just your
aware
school.
of this.
I mean, you get the wrong teacher, you know, like your kids get the wrong weirdo teacher, and there's so many weirdo teachers nowadays. Like these young women who have nothing else to do. Like this is the thing they're qualified to do. Teach, like hang around little kids. And it's horrible. I'm definitely homeschooling. I feel like,
oh my God, no!
It's going to be impossible to get my husband.
Give us more money, please, so Sarah does not have to homeschool. She can hire a private tutor.
I recorded a podcast today with the Collins. Are they?
Oh, Simone and Malcolm Collins.
Collinses, is that what you would say if there were
Collinses? Yes, yeah. The pronatalist power couple.
Yes. And it was a really fun conversation, actually. It was about religion and like systematizing, and I love that kind of stuff. So it was great. It was a nice.
Wow, I can't wait.
Yeah. Can't you?
No, I'm gonna listen. I'm very
okay.
Curious.
Okay, it was good. I liked it. It was a good conversation, and they had like Simone had like a baby on her, like to the end. I was like, this is adorable. It's like this is a couple who really knows how.
Did it cry, or are their babies sort of like
they're just
genetically engineered? Not to interrupt podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, they've been given a special cocktail of drugs to no, but they were fine. They were not disruptive at all and super cute, and it was great. It was a nice, fun little conversation. Yeah.
Oh, Sam, thank you. $20.
Oh, more money.
Thank you.
This is great. Thank you, Sam. Wow. And anything else? Did they say wuss to be safe? Okay.
Okay.
Wussy.
Yeah.
Okay, I can say that.
So yeah.
Um my
Oh, where's the theme song? Oh, okay. Yeah, we're doing some tweaks to the opening and closing theme.
yeah,
Opening
we
closing
just don't
music.
know how it works. Like with the new intro, I don't know if it works together. Like it just
Yeah, I
that's
loved
what it
it.
is.
I loved it, and it was an original composition that the artist let us use. But
Yeah, it was
with our
great, but I
rebranding, it's not. We need to kind of
think
recalibrate some
about
things.
something else, but just
Yeah.
we haven't had time to like find. And also, I want to wait till something works. Like I felt that way with our logo, where it was we went through lots of like different iterations and discussions about it, and then like I don't know what I was watching, like Daria or something. Remember we were talking about Daria a lot, like, but uh, there's this like TV show on Daria, Six Ed World, and there's like a disgusting, grimy eyeball looking thing.
Mm.
And I think that's where I got like the inspiration for this. And then, we worked on it, and Meghan had the really great idea of not to go with a white iris, which,
Oh yeah, we
or
had a lot
sorry,
of
blue. You want to do
blue.
blue. You want to do blue, but then you thought that was too racial.
Yeah,
But I
it
think
was
green is
coded.
racial too. But
Hmm.
okay, but yeah, but
Not as much though.
not as much. You're right. You're right. I have green-eyed cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Please rate and review.
Yeah, please rate and review. People are mean as shit on there. Like, what?
They are?
For all kinds of stupid things. Like, they'll be like, you interrupt why are you
Okay,
doing
can I
that?
just
Like,
say
and it's
about
like,
the
shut up.
interrupting?
Like,
Which of us interrupts more? Because sometimes it's necessary to
okay,
interrupt. If I didn't interrupt Sarah, she would talk
I
the whole
agree.
time.
I agree.
Let's
I
just be
agree.
real.
Yeah, I think you get some heat for interruptions, but I also think they have no idea how long I could go on if you didn't do that. And it's just important, like that it's a conversation. Like it's not a monologue. Even if I'm saying whatever, it doesn't.
I mean,
It's
even
not a
if it's
monologue. That's not what it is.
right. Yeah.
Um,
And I would invite them to listen to other podcasts. Podcasts are an interrupting format, for better or for worse.
yeah. No, I don't mind it at all. I think it's good. I think you should do more of it. And I'm a big girl. I can keep talking. If like it really bothers me, I would
No.
like if
Fine.
I really had a point, I would insist.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's a stupid. I think that's a stupid Chris. I think you should just ignore them. Ignore the haters.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I do.
Should read my
But I'm a pick me, and that's a real. That's
Mhm.
that's a critique I've been getting. But also true. So what are we gonna do?
Yeah. Well, you should read my memoir, Girl Interrupter. That's me. Yeah. So all right, rate and review, and I guess we'll see you in the woods.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the gift.
Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the donations.
Yeah.
And
take money. Thank you, Kermit.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna go
appreciate it.
I'm
We're
gonna
go
walk
shopping
in the woods now with my bear.
Okay. And she's gonna find the love of her life, the bear of her life. Finally. Okay. All right.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You have reached the end of the episode, which probably means you like our content. Why don't you join our Substack right now? You can become a paying subscriber at a specialplace.substack.com. You can join our listener community, leave comments, interact with everybody. We'll see you in there. It is totally worth it. So please join us, a specialplace.substack.com. And thanks for listening.